He's back, and we're here to talk about it with you. So, TFI Friday is back. Well, it's sort of TFI Friday. It's TFI Unplugged now. But Chris is back, the king of Friday night TV. It means Friday nights are back. In fact, you don't have to wait on a Friday night. You can watch it any day of the week now, thanks to the wonders of modern technology. So, let's review it. Let's have a chat about it. Is it relevant? Who's it aimed at? Is it aimed at you? Is it aimed at me? Who's going to watch it? So the first episode is very, very reminiscent of the original TFI Friday vibe. So it has the same kind of set, the same kind of handheld camera, and a really good mix of musicians, comedians, actors, and obviously the king is there to make sure proceedings go smoothly. So it's a handheld camera vibe. It's improved from the original in that we've got crisper audio. It's more compressed, the audio, so it works well on the radio and podcasts and people listening to it on various streaming platforms and so on and so forth. And the visuals are crisper because it's 4K. It's filmed in 4K, not unlike the original grainy kind of mid-1990s technology we had. So it does look better, it does sound better, and the music's the same. The TFI music intro is exactly the same. Chris walks on and wades his way through a big crowd of people and plonks himself down on a desk with loads of paraphernalia in the background, loads of Easter eggs that you can see in the background for the fans. And yeah, he sits across a desk and has a chat with Ross Noble, has a good chat with Tim Booth, who's probably the star of the show on this, does two brilliant performances of James songs. They do Sit Down, which is very unusual for James to perform Sit Down, but they did that for Chris Evans and the TFI show. And then they did a brilliant arrangement of Sometimes, which is another classic James track. They're on tour in March and in the summer. Go and see them. So, what do we reckon? Chris is the same. He's not got ginger hair anymore. Like the rest of us, he's gone a bit greyer. But we don't mind that. He's the same old Chris. He sits across a big desk. He doesn't rip his guests as much as he used to. He is 32 years older than he was, 38 years older than he was on the original series, which was aired in 1995. So 1995 to 2000, it actually ran. I couldn't believe it when I found that. I thought it ran for a lot longer than 5 years, but it just seemed like it was around forever. So what do we think of it? Well, the things that are great are the mix of guests, the visuals look good, Chris is obviously brilliant, as long as he collects good guests along the way, we should be in for a good ride. Now, there's a couple of things, little tweaks, if the TFI Friday team is watching me, and I doubt they are. I've got less than 100 subscribers at this point. There's a couple of things that I think would refine it and improve it a little bit. And for people like us that were around in the 90s, they're kind of obvious howlers, really. So the first thing to know is it's produced by Virgin, all right? And you can't fail to notice that it's produced by Virgin because there's 10 branded Virgin items in the screen. Now, they've definitely gone overboard with the Virgin branding. It kind of kills the anarchic vibe somewhat. And we understand that Virgin are producing it and it's on Virgin and they want us to subscribe to Virgin. And obviously Chris has a breakfast show on Virgin. But there really is no need for... And I've just made a note of the branded items that you get to see. Branded Virgin microphone clips, cushions, rugby balls, footballs, window vinyls, mugs, cue cards. There's some sort of light that's lit up with the Virgin logo. There's a cube on the desk that's branded Virgin. And there are even, believe it or not, some channel branding stuff. So it's very overtly branded, and I'd tone that down. Virgin, if you're watching, you don't need to stick your logo on virtually everything. Just take away 70% of the Virgin branding. And that leads on to my second point, which you might notice. Only the eagle-eyed of us will notice this, but if you remember back in the 90s, the stuff in the background, not unlike me here, was cultural references to stuff that was going on at the time, and it was fixed in the 90s. So, for example, there'd be a black grape poster on the wall, or there'd be a train spotting poster in the back somewhere, or an Oasis t-shirt or something like this, or a Blur poster or a vinyl in the background. So it was of its time at the time. Now what they've done this time is, and I can tell the set has been produced by somebody who wasn't around to see the original series in the 90s and doesn't quite understand the cultural context in which TFI operates in the mind of people like you and me. So for instance, they've got Beatles paraphernalia in the background and Rolling Stones stuff in the background and a strategically placed acoustic guitar in the background that doesn't need to be there. We know it's called Unplugged, but it's just an obvious thing to get rid of. It's the kind of thing that politicians have behind them on a Zoom interview on Newsnight to make themselves look cool. Chris Evans doesn't need that to look cool. He is cool, his guests are cool, and the format's totally cool, so there's no need to overcool it. Now, this idea with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, it's just not of its time. It's not of the 90s. So you can tell that somebody's wanted to make a British retro TFI modern variant, and they've gone British and retro, but what they've done is they've gone too far back in time. So our references weren't Beatles and Rolling Stones, and I know you can talk about Oasis being influenced by the Beatles, but at the time, what was hugely powerful about TFI Friday was that it was influencing the here and now and what we consume, art, music, culture, literature now. So back in the 1990s. So what it needs to do with the background is, if it's going full on nostalgia, it should really pull back some of those 90s references in the back of the set. Or it should bring some modern references that are the equivalent of what we saw in the 90s. So stuff that's going on now. Now, we don't know who the guests are, and seemingly Chris doesn't even know at this point who his guests might be. He might be lining them up, I'm sure, in the background, but it's obviously week by week planning. So I think we might see a bit of the set change, a little bit dropping of the Virgin branding wouldn't go amiss. But otherwise, it's an absolutely fantastic show, and it's brilliant to see it back in it, to be fair. And it's something to look forward to. And we don't have to wait till Friday anymore to listen to it or watch it, which is even better. We can obviously just subscribe to Virgin Radio, YouTube channel, and watch them from there. So I'm pretty pleased with it. I'm waiting to see who else they bring on. I think one of the things about this kind of show is it does depend on the quality of the guest, and it's compressed into a half-hour format. So it's not like long-form interviews with people. And there's enough space online for long-form interviews, I guess. So it's intriguing to see a sort of shorter-form style of interview on a YouTube platform. And let's just see how that works. So Chris lets his guests breathe more as well. He doesn't jump in like he used to as much, and that's probably a nod to the culture now of allowing guests to talk a little bit more than hosts. So back in the 90s, Chris was the star of the show. I think what Chris doesn't need to do that anymore, and he probably knows that, so he's obviously keen to make his guests the star of the show, which I think is very commendable. And hopefully, all being well, we'll see some brilliant faces that we all know and love over the course of the next few weeks and hopefully months. And yeah, we're obviously all excited and can't wait to see what comes up next. So well done, TFI Unplugged. Well done, Virgin. Get rid of some of that branding. Well done, Chris Evans. You don't need my love, but brilliant stuff. Excellent. And I'm looking forward to the next load of episodes.